show. It's Friday, June 18th, 2010. And today, today I'm just so freaking tired. God, I've been working so many hours, day after day after day, trying to put food on the table, trying to get a better life going for my family. And what I'm running up to is, the harder I work, it's like I'm just not getting ahead. My paychecks are getting smaller, actually. And the people in the government, everything costs more. And it's discouraging. And I'm sure that many of you feel the exact same way that I do. The expenses keep going up, and the money coming in keeps going down. And there's not a lot you feel like you can do about it. Well, I did some research and I figured it out. There's a small group of people who control the whole world. They do. I read about it and I've seen talk show hosts talk about it. And this small group of people, the New World Order or the Illuminati or whatever you want to call them, pull the strings of the leaders and they pull our strings and off we go marching until they decide to get rid of all of us. I think for some of us, thinking that somebody, even a crazy theory like there's this group of bankers running the whole world, gives you a peace of mind. Because by having said that there's this group of bankers running the world, that means all the bad shit that's happening to everybody is not random. It's not chaos, it's controlled. Well, I've got some good news and bad news for you. The good news is, while there may be groups like that, they're not controlling the world. And the bad news is, chaos sucks. It sucks. And if you have a free market, you're going to have up and downs. If you have different cultures, you're going to have some clashes. And that's part of life right now. That is part of life. And there's even people that think, and lots of people that think, that this oil rig that blew up and is leaking millions of gallons of oil every day into the Gulf was planned. That it was planned, blown up, and this leak is being continued to allow to happen because of some political agenda of this small elite group. Does that make sense? Maybe it does to you. It doesn't make sense to me. There is a group of people that actually believe that September 11th, the whole thing is staged. It was all staged. Yeah, the towers came down, but there was explosives inside the towers that brought them down. And that the government, Dick Cheney and George Bush, knew all about it and were kind of in control of it. They were having their strings pulled by their puppet masters, and then this happened. I don't know. That doesn't give me peace of mind. It may give you peace of mind to think that in some psychological kind of warped way. Makes it easier for you than to think that there's a sociopathic fruit out there named Osama bin Laden who's got all these followers who he's taught them that we're to dehumanize everybody but people that follow their particular warped view of Islam. Moral exclusion, and you can kill without remorse. No conscience. No conscience. And they did. And they continue to try to kill without remorse. They are very bad men, and they need to be eliminated. They need to be eliminated. We have become its to them. You're not a person, you're an it. You don't matter if you die. Because it doesn't matter if you're an it, does it? So, that's where we are with them, in my opinion. Now there's this group of people that want to build a mosque near the World Trade Towers, where they used to stand. And there's been some uproar about it, and I think rightfully so. I don't think these people that have turned us into its, these followers of Osama bin Laden, who have turned us into its, would look at the mosque as an olive branch. I think they'd look at a mosque as you people aren't even people, and we put a mosque on top of you. And we're going to martyr the people that we sent to kill you with this mosque. That's what I think. Now, here's the tricky part for all of us. There are bad people, like Osama bin Laden. There are lots of bad people in the world, folks. In fact, there's a book out called The Sociopath Next Door by Martha Stout, and she lays out a very convincing argument that 4% of the population, 4%, 1 in 25, are sociopaths. That means they have no conscience at all. Now, when I first heard that number, I thought, there's no way there's that many people that don't have any conscience. There's no way. And then you start thinking about people you work with, and people who you see on TV, and people who run the country, and your next door neighbors, and maybe she's right. In fact, I'm pretty sure she's right. All right. So that's a great book. Martha Stout, The Sociopath Next Door. It is terrifying. It's terrifying. And she talks about moral exclusion, which I'm going to talk about more right now. And we, as Osama bin Laden has turned us into its, we have turned other people into its. Right now, we have to be on guard not to turn all Muslims into its. There are people who have warped religion and use religion for evil purposes. That does not mean that all people that follow Islam, or even the majority of the people that follow Islam, are evil. I'm starting to hear that, and I know we're all starting to hear it because you hear it. You hear it on the TV shows, and it's in actions. We have to be very careful with our language now. I'm not afraid to say Islamic radical extremist or whatever. I mean, I don't think that it's just a word and pointedly towards Osama bin Laden. That's fine. But when you start taking all Muslims and calling them radical extremists, it's bad. You're dehumanizing them. We need to not do that. We have to be careful. Golly, we have to be careful. Or we will repeat history again. Let's be careful with it. And you can say the same thing about the Mexican thing right now. You know, the borders. I think that the borders being controlled is very, very important to our security. I don't like seeing corporations lower the standard of American wages by hiring illegals. I think it's awful. It's the wrong thing to do. And our government allows it to happen for money. We can't demonize the people that are coming across the border. We cannot dehumanize them. We have to remember that they're people. If we lose this, if we lose the ability to be rational in the way we look at the world, and we become emotional, and we allow a guy in a white lab coat type of scientist, I'm going to call it the leader syndrome. If we allow, and in my opinion, the leaders today aren't necessarily government leaders, they're media leaders. They're people that follow people on television, or on radio, or on internet. We have to be very careful what these people say. And we can't let them get away with some things. And we have to start standing up for ourselves. There's another book that I want to talk about that I didn't read recently, but it kind of goes along with this topic. It's called The Plot Against America, and it's by an author named Philip Roth. And in this book, things go terribly wrong in the United States, but we recover. These two books together, The Sociopath Next Door and Philip Roth's The Plot Against America, to me, describe some dangers that are happening in the United States today. I recommend highly that everybody out there read these two books. And please be careful. Please, we all need to be careful. I'm as guilty as every one of you. I'm certainly not standing on a pedestal. If it sounds like I'm standing on a pedestal, I'm not. I can be the biggest dumbass in the world out. Okay? I can. And I'm probably going to get all kinds of comments now saying, you know, Dave, you are a dumbass. And that's okay. That's okay.